Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the Poorly Educated Podcast, the only news show where we stir the pot, scrape the sides of the skillet, and sometimes burn the biscuits. But hey, that's news for you. Now, folks, today's headlines are hotter than a possum in a microwave, and we're about to dive in like Uncle Larry at a free all-you-can-eat catfish fry. Strap in, because America's fallen apart faster than my cousin's first marriage. Segment 1, Trump's fancy UK visit, pomp, pageantry, and people yelling. Well, folks, Trump done got himself a royal invite over to the UK again. Second state visit, King Charles rolled out the red carpet, put him in a horse-drawn carriage, and treated him to a fancy dinner with 160 guests. That's right. 160 people, which means at least 3 times more than showed up at my cousin Earl's wedding. And Earl had a free keg. Now, Trump says it was one of the highest honors of my life, and I believe him, because usually his high honors involve golf trophies he gave to himself. But the real kicker? Protesters showed up too, thousands of them hollering, chanting, holding signs. And one group even projected Trump's face next to Jeffrey Epstein on Windsor Castle. Folks, that's not a protest. That's a drive-in movie theater with a criminal theme. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Starmer tried to sweeten the deal with a $150 billion U.S. investment package. That's right, 150 billion pounds, which sounds like what I gained last Christmas eating Mama's fudge. Basically, the UK said, sure, we'll let Trump crash at Windsor as long as you all bring a truckload of cash and maybe some AI jobs too. It's less a special relationship and more like a Tinder hookup with a prenup. Segment 2, Jimmy Kimmel booted off TV. Now this one will rattle your banjo strings. Jimmy Kimmel Live got suspended. Yep. Yanked off the air after he roasted Trump's reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Kimmel said Trump mourned like a 4-year-old losing a goldfish. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when my goldfish died, I flushed him down the toilet with full honors. Trump would have built him a ballroom and charged guests $100 to see it. The FCC chairman, one of Trump's boys, threatened ABC and Disney with investigations, and Nexstar Media, which owns a mess of stations, pulled Kimmel's show faster than my neighbor pulls scratch-off lottery tickets. Then Disney said, well, shoot, guess we'll suspend him indefinitely. So now we got comedians censored, networks scared, and the White House bragging about consequence culture. Free speech is deader than my Uncle Bob's AOL email. If this keeps up, the only late-night show left will be Trump sitting in pajamas doing knock-knock jokes on Truth Social. Knock-knock, who's there? Democracy. Democracy who, exactly? Segment 3, the Charlie Kirk assassination mess. Now, this is darker than a blackout at the Waffle House. Charlie Kirk got assassinated at Utah Valley University, and now the whole country's arguing about motives. The shooter, a young fella named Tyler Robinson, grew up conservative, started leaning left, had a transgender partner, and scribbled meme phrases like, hey fascist, catch on his ammo. Folks, that ain't politics. That's Reddit threads gone feral. Republicans are yelling radical left terrorism. Democrats are yelling don't politicize it. Meanwhile, experts are saying maybe it's not left or right. It's just pure nihilism, which is fancy talk for crazy stew with no recipe. The FBI even made a new category, nihilistic violent extremism. Yep, NVE. Sounds like a new brand of tractor, but nope, it's the category for folks radicalized by memes and Monster energy drinks. The problem ain't just the act, it's how fast everybody spins it. Trump immediately blamed the radical left before the ink on the police report dried. Steve Bannon called for war, and Twitter, or X, or whatever Elon calls it now, turned into a mud wrestling pit. Folks, if political violence is a bonfire, our leaders are pouring gasoline on it like it's a Labor Day cookout. Segment 4. The Fed cuts rates. Welcome to stagflation, y'all. The Federal Reserve just cut interest rates, even though inflation's still higher than my uncle's blood pressure after a Slim Jim binge. Inflation's up 2.9%. Core inflation stuck at 3.1%, but unemployment claims just spiked like a Pabst Blue Ribbon can at a NASCAR tailgate. It's called stagflation, high inflation plus weak jobs. That's basically the economic version of having a toothache and food poisoning at the same dang time. Now, Trump's been jawing at Fed Chair Jerome Powell, demanding bigger cuts. One new Fed governor, who's Trump's buddy, wanted to slash rates by 50 points. Folks, the Fed's supposed to be independent, but it looks more like my cousin trying to play poker with daddy's money. If this keeps up, we'll be paying $8 for a jar of pickles while half the town's laid off. Stagflation ain't just a word. It's the reason Grandma's hiding gold coins in the flour jar again. Segment 5. RFK Jr. versus the CDC. Science Smackdown, Lord have mercy. RFK Jr., our Health and Human Services Secretary, has been accused of interfering with the CDC, firing people who didn't toe his line, and replacing vaccine experts with his own posse. One fired director said RFK told her, "Commit in advance to approving every vaccine wreck, no matter the science." That's like telling a weatherman, "Just say it's sunny, even in a tornado." Now he's calling the CDC the most corrupt agency in the world. Buddy, I've been to the DMV. That's a tough competition. Meanwhile, measles outbreaks are killing kids again 'cause folks ain't vaccinating. We're heading back to the 1800s, y'all. Next thing you know, we'll be treating polio with moonshine and a rusty saw. Segment 6. Trump's $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times. Trump's suing the New York Times for $15 billion. Billion, y'all. That's like buying every Bass Pro Shop in the Southeast. He says they lied in a book about his finances and called him a lucky loser. Honestly, if I had a nickel for every time somebody called me that, I'd almost be a millionaire too. Problem is, to win a defamation case, you gotta prove actual malice. That's lawyer speak for they knew it was false and printed it anyway. Experts say the case has less chance than a snowball in July, but maybe Trump don't care about winning. Maybe he just wants to drag this up to the Supreme Court and get rid of those pesky free speech protections. If he pulls it off, every redneck podcast, including mine, will be sued into oblivion. Sir, you said Earl smelled like possum grease on air. Yes, Your Honor, but it was true. Segment 7. TikTok gets a reprieve. TikTok ain't banned after all. Oracle and some American investors are taking over the U.S. side. China's ByteDance keeps just under 20%, like that one cousin who still insists on bringing potato salad to the cookout, even though nobody eats it. But here's the sticky part. The algorithm. That magical thing that tells you whether you're seeing a cat playing piano or a fella falling off a roof. If China still controls it, then the deal's basically like trading a rattlesnake for a water moccasin. Congress says, if the algorithm's still Chinese, y'all ain't complying. So we might still end up dancing in court instead of on TikTok. Segment 8. Immigration crackdown. Patriot 2.0. Trump's launched Patriot 2.0. Targeting sanctuary cities. ICE agents are snatching folks outside homes, work vans, and schools. They say they're going after the worst of the worst criminals. but data shows 70% of those detained ain't got no criminal record. That's like hunting raccoons, but catching house cats. Boston and Chicago mayors are furious, calling it tyranny. Immigrant families are hiding in homes, scared to take kids to school. Folks, this ain't Law and Order. It's Duck Dynasty meets RoboCop. Segment 9. Environmental Justice Rollback. The administration just axed $29 billion worth of environmental justice programs. Stuff like flood relief in black neighborhoods, clean water in rural Alabama, and solar panels for low-income families. Instead, they're calling it wasteful DEI. So now communities with sewage in their yards are told, sorry, can't help you, but hey, have fun with the hookworms. Meanwhile, chemical companies get a free pass. Folks, we're living in Mad Max, but with more dollar generals. Segment 10. Wild disasters outpacing human construction. Finally, science says the biggest driver of land change in America ain't humans. It's wild disasters like fires, storms, and floods. Human construction's down, but Mother Nature's throwing tantrums left and right. Translation: hurricanes and wildfires are remodeling America faster than Bob Vila ever could. My hometown's landscape used to change when we built a Walmart. Now it changes when a storm drops 12 inches of rain overnight. It's like climate change turned the thermostat up and then said, good luck, rednecks. In conclusion, well, folks, that's today's poorly educated podcast. News that's serious, scary, and sometimes just plain stupid. From Trump riding carriages in the UK to wildfires rearranging our backyard, it's a reminder that America's a mess, but it's our mess. And just like fishing with dynamite, it's dangerous, probably illegal, but dang if it ain't entertaining. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, stay poorly educated, stay loud, and stay away from raccoons in your attic.